Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Money Maverick podcast, where we expose the fallacies of traditional financial advice. I'm Tim Turley, the host for today's episode. We're coming to you live from the Money Maverick studio in Salt Lake City, Utah. We have an awesome discussion today because we're talking to an awesome person. She's our Maverick this week, and we're going to get into some correlations between health and finances. I think you'll really enjoy this. Again, we want to let you know how to get a hold of us if anyone's looking to learn more details about the financial principles that we teach. You can go to www.uniqueadvantage.biz and learn all about how we make people's dreams come true and how our team helps people. So today, I want to give you a little personal insight as to why Annie is our Maverick this week. I have, at my age, which I think is quite normal, you wonder why your energy level has dropped and you have little ailments. You know, you wake up with a hamstring pull and you didn't do anything. And weird stuff happens when you get a little bit older. And it happens to younger people too, I'd imagine, Annie. But I have had some great success working with the medical clinic that Annie owns. The franchise clinic that she runs. And they're just an amazing people. I have never had this kind of personal, caring advice, deep advice, and someone that really cared about my health. And since we're talking about financial freedom all the time, I thought it would be great to have Annie come over and talk about the relationship between optimal health and how that translates into financial freedom and how that helps you earn more. And because our greatest asset is our ability to earn income, at least financially speaking. And so Annie has a great story herself, and I've had some great experiences there. Just from a financial standpoint, for example, I did a complete blood panel with Andy's company. And get this. So from a financial standpoint, my insurance, which is full coverage, full-blown insurance, they gave me the price tag for a complete blood panel. So, and after the insurance paid for their part of it, when I paid cash with Annie's facility, it was half. So anyways, that's a whole nother discussion on insurance and what they cover. So I'm so glad to have Annie Monson here today from Anodyne. Her specific facility is Anodyne of Utah Valley. And welcome to the show, Annie.
Thank you, Tim.
We're glad you're here. So tell us a little bit about your story. First of all, I know you've had some really cool health transitions yourself. So tell us about that. And also how you came to start this particular clinic and why.
Okay. Well, I am one of the owners at Anodyne of Utah Valley. I have been very interested in health and wellness my entire life. I've been an athlete. I've been a swimmer, a track runner, a tennis player, a dancer. I've done a lot. And so it just feels good to be free and be able to move my body the way I want to. But I got married, which was great, and I had 5 wonderful children, and that's also great. I love them all so much. But having 5 kids in less than, let's see, I think my oldest was 10 when I had my last one. No, that's not right. He was 8. Anyways, having those kids every 2 years, it really took a toll on my body. And even though I did CrossFit and I ate really healthy every day, I would still find these bouts of, anxiety, depression, and I couldn't ever get myself really excited to move my body as much. I still went religiously every single day, but I could not lose the weight. And anyways, my husband, sorry, side tangent. My husband is always looking for ways to diversify our portfolio and not put all of our eggs in one basket. So we have been doing real estate on the side, and we jumped into this with some friends who wanted to diversify their portfolio as well. And so that's how we kind of got into Anodyne. But when we opened, our nurse practitioner, Keena Hooker, she looked at me and she's like, let's take your blood. Let's see what we find, And as one of our first patients, I was really excited to be the guinea pig. So she looked at my results and she realized my cortisol was through the roof. And she asked me about stress and sleep and just basically all the foundational health that, we kind of overlook and see. And we identified some things, and I don't sleep well. I'm always in fight or flight mode because as a mom, you're always trying to take care of them. And then on the side, you're doing all these businesses and you're trying to keep up with the Joneses and, all that kind of stuff. So we took her analysis of my overall health, and she gave me some little tiny baby steps to do with sleeping, with eating, with coping with stress. And then she put me on semaglutide, and semaglutide is super popular. The Kardashians did it, so everybody has to do it.
Right.
But semaglutide is used for people who are diabetic, typically. And what it does is it stabilizes your blood sugars, so you don't have as many spikes. It's really, really important that you don't spike your blood sugar. But here we are in America, and we have the American diet where everything is bleached, or, the nutrients are taken out. And we find ourselves spiking our blood sugar every time we eat or have a snack or a treat or anything. So even though we think we're making conscious, good choices with our food, we're still spiking our blood sugar. Having looked at the semaglutide option, she put me on that, and it is a tool to get me to where I want to be. So it will suppress your appetite. And one of the things that a lot of doctors don't share with their patients is that you need to increase probiotics, you need to increase fiber, and the quality of food you're putting in your body when you're on semaglutide. A lot of people want the quick fix and go to their doctor and just, hey, can I get a prescription? And then they go pick it up. And sure, they'll lose weight for like the first little while, and they'll have the success they thought they wanted, but they don't have the tools and the guidance and the accountability aspect of that. So when people talk about gastric paresis, again, I'm no doctor, but from the research I found, a lot of it is it would be helpful with what you put into your body. So Keena was very insightful. She helped me a lot with that, and I didn't have the gastric distress that a lot of people experience. I also wanted to try tirzepatide, which is kind of the next step up. It is stronger than semaglutide, but I was able to lose 82 pounds in the last year on semaglutide and tirzepatide.
Wait, will you say that again?
I lost 82 pounds.
Very nice.
And
Wow.
I've been able to maintain my muscle. I have more energy. I am sleeping better. I actually focus better because with all of that, she also has me on supplements that are, bioavailable. And I eat healthy and I do my supplements, and I've seen a huge difference in my energy and the way I look at myself. I'm a little more confident. I'm able to, do things with my kids that I never did before, like take pictures and selfies, and I will take them out and do things, and I'm excited to do things with them.
And come on the Money Maverick podcast.
Yeah, and
See?
come on the Money Maverick podcast.
Yeah, see?
Honestly, it's true. And if you were to have asked me this, I don't know, a year and a half ago, I would have told you no and made some really junky excuse, and I probably wouldn't be here.
Very nice. Well, you brought up some really key principles that translate over to what we teach and what we talk about on the podcast.
Yeah.
And you mentioned accountability and guidance.
Yeah.
So that applies to everything. So
does.
we teach that, we don't care if someone makes $10 million a year or $50,000 a year. The principles of accountability and guidance are the same.
Yeah.
there's always something you can learn. And we don't know what we don't know when it comes to money. And with health, for heaven's sakes, we really need some accountability and guidance there.
We do.
Yeah. And so you had that journey of getting, you didn't know what you didn't know. You didn't know what was going on.
No. I thought I was doing all the right things. It's so funny when you have someone kind of step back with you and kind of analyze your life with you a little bit and kind of go over the little tiny details that you could be working on. Like for coping with stress, she asked me to do ice plunges. And for a while, that was kind of tedious. It's alarming. It's not something, it's out of my comfort zone. And for a lot of people, that is, you don't want to take a cold shower. You don't want to do those kinds of things. But, taking that time, just the 10 minutes to prep and get that done and do the plunge, or, sit in the morning and just have 10 minutes of quiet where you can just kind of ground yourself before you start your day. That has made a huge difference in my life. But I didn't have that before. I was just like, get up, get ready, let's tackle this day. And I just didn't have a minute to just step back and think about things and kind of just clear my mind. It is so important. We're always on the go. We're always trying to achieve the next best thing. We're, everybody's in a different stage. Some people just don't know what to do with their day, or some people don't have that guidance of just dropping in on themselves and kind of checking in. So
interesting. So let me divert a little bit because of something you said, because it goes into what we talk about on the Money Maverick. You use the word diversifying your portfolio.
Yes.
So we tell the truth here on what we think is the truth, and we talk about sometimes blunt stuff, and we don't mean to offend people, but we talk about blunt stuff.
Yeah.
So there is a marketing scheme from Wall Street, and what they do is to tell you to diversify your portfolio, but they don't mean necessarily to diversify your asset portfolio. They tell you to diversify your mutual funds inside your 401k.
Right.
And that's not really diversification. In fact, diversification within a class of stocks and bonds and ETFs and whatever you've got in there, all that does is guarantee that you're going to have losses and risk. Because that's what they're really saying is, we're not going to pick the best mutual funds for you because a bunch of these are going to lose, but maybe some of them will earn. Yeah. So that's not really a great strategy, if you ask me. But it sounds really great. What you and your husband have done is what I consider to be true diversification. Is you've chosen different assets that produce cash flow. Right. So you have a rental or two in Florida. Is that correct?
So we do fix and flips. We do Airbnbs. Do long-term rentals. All of them have different cash flow, and all of them are kind of a different experience in and of themselves.
How many do you have of those?
Let's see. We have 2, 3, 5, 6, 7.
Very nice. And you've got a business, and you just bought another clinic, or almost?
We just closed on another clinic just the beginning of this month, and it'll be just like Anodyne. We'll do the same things. It's called Optimal Wellness Center.
Very nice. Very nice. So you're doing what really creates financial freedom. It's assets that produce income or passive income. Yeah. Now, if I can just get you to get a property manager, then it would be even better, right? Yes. Yes. Okay. So that is just perfect, because the greatest investment we can ever make is in ourselves, number one. And you've done that through your own experience health-wise. And you've done it through your asset diversification of different types of assets. And you've invested in your own business, in your own private assets. And that's actually the goal that we think people should strive for, is those three things. Invest in what you know, invest in what you control and have influence over.
Oh, I completely agree. And I think something that gets overlooked and kind of overseen is everybody's health. And that's why I'm here. And that's why we opened our clinic the way we did. We get to the root cause of why you're feeling so sluggish and getting the root cause. We're not just doing like the oh, your labs came back and they look great. It's more of what are your optimal levels and why aren't you feeling good?
That's why I came in, by the way, and it was so eye-opening. So let's segue right into that.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a money maverick question. We tell the truth, right? Yeah. So there are some amazing medical professionals out there and doctors that do amazing things, specific things. But there's a whole area of health and wellness that they're honestly just not really good at. And a lot of it has to do with the relationship with Big Pharma. We all know that.
We all know that. We are all guinea pigs.
It's super easy. I heard that the average doctor's visit was like 3 minutes, 3 to 6 minutes. And, yes, I guess sometimes they work. And in fact, you guys, even if it's necessary, will do a prescription, right? But that has become the easy fix for doctors.
It's been an even easy fix for everybody. What I find super common is when, you're talking to family or friends and they're like, oh, do you take my insurance? It's like, well, we do take some insurances, but I'll tell you right now, they won't cover what you're wanting to fix. And that's okay. And we work with people all the time, but we find that that is like the easiest crutch for most people to, oh, I don't want to pay for it out of pocket. Oh, I don't want to do this. But going back to, Big Pharma and all these things, like we have been kind of conditioned to go to the doctor and get a prescription. And we don't ask questions. We don't really, some people ask questions, but I don't know that they're always asking the right questions. Like a lot of times people go get a prescription for something and it'll take care of their immediate need, but then there are side effects. And, you get a skin rash. Well, why do you have a skin rash? Do you just put ointment on it and hope it goes away? Or,
that's usually the fix. Let me give you some ointment or a prescription.
Let's just put a cream on it. But you could have food allergies. You could be, you could have an autoimmune condition that you don't know about. And those creams will only be a short-term fix.
So why, Annie, why is that the way it's traditionally done? Because again, we talk about, you're here because it's non-traditional.
Yes.
And we talk about non-traditional ways of finance. You're doing a completely non-traditional way of health and wellness, and it's amazing. But why is the traditional way of treating a skin rash? Why is that?
Well, because it makes money.
So follow the money.
Follow the money. So is that okay if I talk about Mark's health journey a little bit?
Sure.
Okay. So my husband, Mark, he has Crohn's disease, and the way he got it, we aren't really sure. Typically it's hereditary, but nobody in his family has it. And the form of Crohn's that he has attacks his little intestine, which is also not common. He has sphincter of Odie, and that's a whole nother thing that has been kind of a mess. But in 2005, he took Accutane for his acne. And sure, it worked really well. So well. His acne was completely gone. And it was like a miracle because he tried antibiotics. He tried a bunch of different things. And it just never went away. But then he started to bleed internally. And he couldn't figure out why. And there were just issues that, he started having these like pancreatitis attacks. He didn't know it was pancreatitis attacks. But these attacks that just... they were debilitating. He'd, break down in cold sweats. He'd be laying in bed and, he'd have a migraine for 3 days and just not be able to function. So we ended up finding out that there was a lawsuit against Accutane. And I don't know what I can share according with like the attorneys that we worked with. But it's interesting. With some of the things that we found out about Accutane, it was very telling about Big Pharma. And it was very telling of like, they don't care about people. They care about making money. And they had X amount of court cases that went to trial, and we were in line. We were doing depositions, and all of a sudden it just got shut down. And it was just very, very telling that Big Pharma does not care about you. And it's not a secret. Everybody knows that. And so as part of our passion with our medical practice is you don't always need a prescription. It's there if you need it. There is a lot of value in prescriptions. However, it should not be the first fix.
Yeah, and I'm experiencing that myself. It's wonderful. How does reaching and obtaining and you're going on a journey of getting optimal health, how does that affect finances or your ability to earn or keep or make rational decisions?
Your brain is overlooked every single day. We always make fun of people going to shrinks, therapists, all the things. And I actually completely, wholeheartedly believe in taking care of your brain. Your brain health is so important. It's the center of everything you do. Your muscle movement, your breathing, breathing's overlooked, like just so many things that are so critical to your body. And if you're not taking good care of your body, how are you supposed to work the hours you're supposed to work? Whether you're in manual labor or, a desk job, like how are you able to have that energy or that focus? Focus is one thing that is super important. And you've got to really feed your brain the right things. And anyways, it is so important for you to succeed.
It's directly related to productivity and efficiency.
Productivity, right? Efficiency, how you're sleeping, the quality of sleep that you get is half the battle. And if you're not getting good sleep because you're drinking energy drinks or you're relying on caffeinated beverages all the time, or even those Crystal Light packets with caffeine, just all these things that are promoted to give you energy is actually depleting your adrenal glands. And it is so hard to regain those back after you've depleted them. It can take years. And I would know because I was taking pre-workout every day and taking pre-workout to clean my house. So I have enough energy to get through cleaning all of that. Like I firsthand experienced that. And productivity went down because when I crashed hard. I got really depressed. I couldn't go out and do the things I wanted to do. My house started getting messier, and that was a huge alarm for me. And anyways, it absolutely affects your productivity, and it affects the way you have relationships in your life, which in turn affect how you feel about yourself. And that also affects your productivity.
And that translates directly into like your interactions with people.
Oh, absolutely.
Your ability to do so, right?
I find so many people incapacitated because they are mentally so afraid. They are just whatever it is holding them back from like going out and doing what they love. Whether it's physical incapacities because they're too overweight or they don't have the confidence to do things. Like it is amazing how much self-worth is associated with what you eat, what you feel your body with, what you see in the mirror. Like, do you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. That's what I'm noticing. I started the hormone replacement therapy at your clinic, and all of a sudden my energy is getting much more consistently above average than it has been for a long time. And my focus is improving. Yeah. And just by putting those better things with the guidance and accountability is making a big difference.
Well, it's amazing what testosterone can do for your body, especially like even in women. Like we don't need very much. We just need a minute little bit, but it makes all the difference.
Isn't that interesting? Well, before we want to give you have you give the audience a Money Maverick tip of the week, a health tip. And before you do that, we really want people to know how they can get a hold of you if they want to ask you questions. If you've got 2 clinics in Utah, but I'm sure you can give people good advice if they call you from anywhere. But how can people get a hold of you, and specifically the one clinic or the other one? How can they reach you?
Just call our office. Our office in Orem is the Anodyne of Utah Valley, and you can call our front desk anytime. Do you want me to give the number?
They could just look up Anodyne. How do you spell Anodyne?
Anodyne.
Okay, very good. Okay. And then the other clinic in Salt Lake area is going to open up when?
Yes. It's open but it's only doing chiropractic right now. So we will be introducing the medical side of it
Right.
shortly.
And for those of you who are listening outside of the state of Utah, this is one time that it would be worth every dime you spent to fly into Salt Lake.
Telehealth.
Okay, telehealth is great, but if you need to come meet the staff and meet Kina, the nurse practitioner. She's a remarkable practitioner, and it's worth flying in to have a consult with you.
I would fly.
Of course, I would second that. So that's how they can get a hold of you in the clinic. So what's one practical tip if someone were to listen to this and say, okay, Annie, what's one thing I can work on today? If I listen to this, what's something that I could kind of focus on that would perhaps make a difference with my health? And again, it could be just a consultation could be the key. But if you were to give a tip to our audience, what would you suggest that they can apply right now?
So I think you said it. I would highly suggest just making that phone call, talk to Kina for 15 minutes. We always offer free consultations. I'm not a medical provider, so I can't give you any true medical advice. However, I would say Kina knows her stuff, and I would talk to her. It doesn't hurt to have a 15-minute conversation to answer questions. And it is absolutely open to whatever. She cares about her patients, and you'll get a sense of that when you meet her.
So the tip is to get some accountability and guidance.
Get some accountability and some guidance. We are here to help, and she really is the most non-judgmental, open, and happy ray of sunshine. She's amazing.
She is. I would second that. Well, thank you so much, Annie Monson from Anodyne of Utah Valley, for coming on the podcast, and we wish you well, and we hope to have you back on soon. We can talk about some other stuff in the future.
Just let me know.
Okay, so thanks for coming on the show. Hope you all have a great week, and we'll see you next time.